think about Rodgers' resume, Shady, and he's won 4 MVPs. He's won a Super Bowl. He's won several playoff games. He's been the #1 seed several times. He's had several 13-win seasons. His resume is ridiculous. And because of that, the Jets are putting a lot of stock in the man that is Aaron Rodgers. But do you think the Jets are putting too much stock in Aaron Rodgers?
No. I think bringing Aaron Rodgers there, it will bring up the value of the players, right? When I say the value of the players, I mean, when I come into the locker room, I see Aaron Rodgers to the left of me, right? I got to bring my game, my A game. I never want to be the linkest link on the offense or on the team. And I feel like when he's there, it brings everybody's game up to a whole nother level. And I love it. I love what the Jets are doing. I love the type of pressure they're putting on Aaron. That, listen, it's your team, and let's see where you take us.
Is it any chance, though, in your mind that, like, it's just the pressure's too much? Not the pressure's too much. The expectations are too high. When Tom Brady went to the Bucs and you joined Tom Brady in the Bucs, y'all won a Super Bowl. The expectations were Super Bowl. But Tom Brady's won a lot of Super Bowls prior to joining the Bucs. They have similar expectations for Aaron Rodgers, but truth be told, he's won 1 Super Bowl over 10 years ago. He's only won multiple playoff games, I believe, twice in the last 12 years. So once in the last 12 years. So Aaron Rodgers is getting a Tom Brady type of treatment without a Tom Brady type of accolades. Do you think that people are thinking too highly of him?
I don't know what other players that, or even quarterbacks that could relate to Tom Brady. So it's like, I mean, Joe Montana, he been done. So I look at A-Rod, he's the closest thing to Tom. And let's put some more respect on I guess, how hard it is to win a Super Bowl. Like, yeah, Tom Brady, he came to the Bucs and they had all these different players, but I didn't think people was like, oh, they're guaranteed going to win a Super Bowl. It's been a long time since the Bucs won a Super Bowl, right? Just getting to the playoffs was enough. And then once you get there, then anything is possible. And I think the same thing with the Jets. They've been, 13 years without a Super Bowl run? Without a playoff run? Come on. So to even get there, I think they have the potential to even get to the playoffs, and anything can happen once you get there.
Yeah.
It is the AFC.
True.
And it's tough.
Joy, are they putting too much stock in Aaron Rodgers this year?
Well, I mean, they don't have a choice but to put stock in Aaron Rodgers this year, but I think they're depending a lot on certain parts of his resume. But, you resume, you don't put all that detail, right? Like, you put the best things on your resume because you want to get hired. But the whole story of Aaron Rodgers, particularly lately, which is what you should pay attention to, isn't quite what we think, because we zone in immediately on MVPs. Great. It's not really the Jets' goal for Aaron Rodgers to win the MVP this year. Now, if he wins the MVP, that will be because their team is successful during the regular season. A lot went right. Over the last 6 seasons, he's 2-3 in the playoffs. He has the same playoff record as Jared Goff, Ryan Tannehill, and Dak Prescott. Last year, they missed the playoffs. He didn't have a game where he threw for more than 300 yards, and they lost in the last game to the Lions with an opportunity to go to the playoffs. So to me, like, there are great things on his resume. He's extremely talented, first ballot Hall of Famer, 4 MVPs, Super Bowl. We know all that. But he's going into year 19. And I'm confused a little bit with what the expectations should be based off of his resume, based off of what the Jets have done as of recent, and then based off of the standard that we hold guys of his resume to. We just mentioned Tom Brady, right? I'm with Shady. I don't compare anybody to Tom Brady. But a lot's happened since that Tom Brady Super Bowl. Tom Brady he left the Patriots, shocking dynasty, goes to Tampa Bay, wins a Super Bowl immediately. And then Matthew Stafford, who did not have the resume of Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, left the Lions, went to the Rams, did what?
Super Bowl.
Won a Super Bowl. And then Russell Wilson, who had kind of a similar final season in Seattle to Aaron Rodgers last year in Green Bay, went to Denver, and we were saying, what? Standard should be Super Bowl. Tom Brady did it. Matthew Stafford did it. Russell Wilson's going to a team that we feel on paper is just the quarterback away. And it was a disaster. Now, there's other factors in it, of course. Maybe the coach wasn't right. It's maybe Russ isn't that good anymore. We don't know. But that's where I struggle with how much stock the Jets are putting in Aaron Rodgers, because all we can do right now is look on paper and make predictions, right, based off of what we see on paper. But as we know, what's on paper doesn't always translate to the field. And Russell Wilson is a perfect example of that. So, yeah, he has a great resume. But there's some holes, there's some gaps in the resume that I would ask if interviewing. Well, what about this part here? It's very small. You used 8-point font there. Yeah. I gotta get my glasses. But like this part's a little concerning. Can you explain that to me when you're talking about what the expectations are for the Jets and how this is all actually going to translate?
Yes, they are putting too much weight on his resume because there's stuff that is vital to where the Jets want to go that isn't on the resume. There's the accomplishments, but then there's how are you with your coworkers? What kind of atmosphere do you create? And for them to go where they want to go, and Shady, you can say until you're blue in the face that winning a Super Bowl is hard, winning in the playoffs is hard.
Yeah, I don't seem to think so, but go ahead.
But we've been attaching, fair or otherwise, we've been attaching Super Bowl to the Jets ever since Aaron Rodgers became mentioned as their quarterback. Whether that's fair or not, that's just what people's expectations are. And do I think, we haven't talked a whole lot about the fact that he supposedly had a thumb issue last year. Yeah. So that could have very well impacted his numbers. Just 2 years ago, 34 TDs, 7 interceptions, averaged 260 yards, nearly 260 yards a game. I mean, I would expect that he's going to get back to some semblance of that Aaron Rodgers this season. But is he going to be the galvanizing figure that we heard in the clip about the expectations that come with him and how he raises everybody's standard? Like, I don't know if that's if that's the Aaron Rodgers, then that should have had an impact on the Packers last year, regardless of what his personal condition was. That's where I think they're putting too much weight on the accomplishments and not more recently how he got there.
Who is Aaron Rodgers, though? I think that's the real question. Because even when I think about Aaron Rodgers, and we can make stats sound better than they actually are. I'll give you an example. Aaron Rodgers, you said 2-3 in the playoffs in the last
6 seasons.
In the last 6 seasons. I would also suggest in the last 6 seasons he's gone to the conference championship game 3 times. So he's been 1 game away from the Super Bowl 3 times in the last 7 seasons, truly, last season. I would also suggest if I were defending Aaron Rodgers, I would say very simply, versus LeSean McCoy and the Bucs, when the Bucs won, the Packers defense gave up 31 points. Versus the San Francisco 49ers, when the Niners won, the Packers defense gave up 37 points. Versus the Atlanta Falcons, when the Falcons won in 2016 to go to the Super Bowl, the Packers defense gave up 44 points. So if you give up 44, 37, and 31, you're not winning no games. Ask any defensive coordinator, ask any head coach. If you are a Jets fan, if you're Robert Saleh, mind you, head coach of the Jets defensive line, he's looking and saying, okay, for all of Aaron Rodgers' shortcomings, how many times last year did we give up 31 points? I don't have that off the top of my head. I'm sure I can find out in the next 30 seconds. How many times did we give up 37 points last year? How many times did we give up 44 points last year? Aaron Rodgers is doing his job. If I'm a Jets fan, it's very simple. You gonna get me 1 game away from the Super Bowl 3 times in the last 7 years? 1 game away?
But this is a brand new situation. And my question is, when his wide receivers struggle, how is Aaron going to respond to that? When Robert Saleh makes a decision that he doesn't agree with, how is he going to respond to that? Those are the questions that I have about where they want to go. The solidarity of Aaron Rodgers coming in as this brand new free agent versus the Packers, where it was, I mean, he was part of their culture there. This is just a different thing. And I think that the Jets are assuming that he's going to bring that Packers culture to the New York Jets.
See, to me, Joy, I think...
Which is continual success.
Aaron Rodgers, to me, success isn't culture. To me, and Shady can speak to this more because he was more successful, to me, culture is a mindset. Now, usually that mindset, it dictates success, but I know some teams that have great cultures and did not win a ton of games just because they lack the talent. You know that a lot at the collegiate level. Aaron Rodgers, I assume, Joy, is going to bring talent there. But I also think, as it stands right now, we're seeing an Aaron Rodgers that is happier to be at a place than he's ever been in the last 5 or so years. Aaron Rodgers doesn't go to OTAs. Aaron Rodgers has quite literally taken a private jet to go to the NFL executive directors meetings to say that we shouldn't have OTAs in the NFL. And now he is willingly going to OTAs. But get this, he got hurt during the first week of OTAs, and he still went. Could you imagine if Aaron Rodgers got hurt during OTAs in Green Bay? Bro, he'd be in Hawaii in the middle of this. So I think Aaron Rodgers is giving more than he was giving the last 4 or 5 seasons in Green Bay.
Yeah, and look, I don't like to say too many nice things about the Packers because they've been frustrating to me over the years, but we're going to drip a little respect on the Green Bay Packers. I mean, the Green Bay Packers are a very successful organization.
You
and
have to say they have
for
a
a
good
very
culture.
long time.
No?
Like, they have a good culture.
Yeah, okay, maybe I misspoke. I didn't say they had a bad culture. I said Aaron Rodgers is not bringing culture.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers brought winning.
Right, but like,
to Green Bay.
I would argue that the culture, no, he didn't. The Green Bay Packers have been a good organization for like 30 years. Like, they've had ups and downs here and there, but they've had a first ballot Hall of Famer at the quarterback position for the last 30 years. We'll see what happens moving forward. And again, I don't want to dig too much into the Green Bay Packers here, but I would argue, to your point, that all Aaron's bringing is talent. So him going to OTAs and stuff like that's also going to be on behalf of Aaron Rodgers. Like, he needs to be there. He has expectations of him now that are different than were in Green Bay. If he just rode off into the sunset in Green Bay without all the drama, it might be a different situation. Let's not forget this is New York here. And the Giants had a good season last year. And they're expecting to be better this year. This isn't you're not playing in Green Bay anymore. This is New York City. When stuff starts to get hairy, which we can assume at some point it will, because I'm not expecting them to go undefeated this season. How does the adversity thing play into it? That's really my question with Aaron Rodgers. I know he's a different guy when he's motivated, and he is, and all that. That's cool. I guess what the resistance that I'm running into here is that he had a down year last year in a situation he was familiar with, in an organization that is traditionally a winning organization. This is not that situation, and he's not bringing the culture. So the culture's got to come from somewhere.
Bringing winning.
That's where I'm at.
He's bringing
He
winning.
better.
I'm saying, would you agree with that?
The culture doesn't exist. So if he brings winning, then maybe it won't matter. But he's got 2 years to do that.
Yeah, I just think that he brings winning. He's been in a winning quarterback. He hasn't had the Super Bowls to prove it, but he's been a winning quarterback. He's had the first seeds. You talked about how many games that they were away from being in the Super Bowl. Like, that's hard to do. So I just think that he's playing with a better team, better defense, better talent, right? You bring winning, mixture of all the stuff I just talked about from the talent part and the defense. That should be enough.
On paper.
But my thing is, like, when y'all be playing around with this Super Bowl thing, it's like, if we just talk about the last, 5 quarterbacks to win a Super Bowl, who is it? You got
Mahomes,
Brady, you got
Stafford, Brady, Mahomes.
I'm not saying it's rational.
And if you keep going even farther, it's like, come on. You're not going to find a quarterback that's going to go to the Super Bowl every year.
For sure.
Other than Patrick Mahomes. That's it.
I don't think that the expectations for the Jets are Super Bowl. But the fact
Just
that
to be a
the fact
contender,
that
I feel like
the fact that the word Jets and Super Bowl are being mentioned together is a product of Aaron Rodgers being there.
Yeah.
Right.
Which means the expectations have been raised for an organization that has the longest playoff drought in major sports. That's a big jump to make.
But that's what I'm saying. So them having the possibility to even get to the playoffs, right?
Right.
And then anything can happen from there. I don't know if I would make the Jets the favorite to win the Super Bowl. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But them to have the chance to even get there, been 13 years without the playoffs.
But there is a separation.
The same thing when the Bengals beat Kansas City and Kansas City.
Yeah.
Right now, they were doing well. I'm like, okay, I can see them doing solid in the playoffs. But just to have a chance to get there, anything is possible. That's my thing.
But there's a separation when we talk about teams that are capable of making the playoffs and teams that are Super Bowl contenders. Those are two different groups.
Of course.
And we've leapfrogged the New York Jets into Super Bowl contenders.
Absolutely.
That's been the question that we've asked. And I know where you're staying, where you're saying, look, you got to take the first step before you take the second one. But we haven't done that. We've leapfrogged them directly into
We haven't taken any
contention.
steps. To your point, we haven't taken any steps yet. We've leapfrogged them, and they haven't taken any steps yet.
Right.
But also, this is not an ongoing situation. This is not the Bengals with Joe Burrow. This is not the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. This is not the Bills. This is not the Ravens. You've got 2 years to do this. He's in year 19, and we're saying 2 years because we're assuming he's going to play next year. Like, the Jets have gone all in with this situation with a quarterback going into his 19th year for a temporary situation to go all in. So you really don't have the runway to play around with, which is why I still struggle with what the expectations for this team should be.
We will see. We will see. I know we're going to be talking a lot about it. That's all I can tell y'all.
Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.